Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I just want to do a real quick market recap on the day and show you how my trade went. My name is Kendrick McMillan. I am the leader of In Truth Capital. Here, I just share my journey in the stock market and show you what I do, the ins and outs of the plays and the trades that I get into on the daily. Today we had a successful day. Was able to catch a clean 1 to 2. Um, but before we get into that, let me let you know I am not a financial advisor. I am no one that has this status of anyone in the financial game. I am just a young man that's sharing my journey and sharing my thoughts when it comes to the stock market and what I see on a daily when it comes to trading. With that being said, today, as you all know, I only trade SPY, um, the ticker symbol SPY. Um, Before I start trading, this is what I typically do on the daily, on the regular. I mark out previous day high and previous day low. So yesterday's high was at 755.63, and then previous day low was at 750.19, around that area. Pre-market, actually let me get this correct, I'm sorry. It was previous day high was at 755.60, sorry about that, and previous day low was about 750.19. Every morning I mark these levels out. I also mark out the pre-market high, which was, let me change that to this. Pre-market high was at 754.62, and then pre-market low was around 751.21. Um, so that's what I typically do. Mark out these key levels before I do anything. Now, I typically do trade supply and demand. So when the market opens, I'll mark up again my previous day high, low, pre-market high and low, and then I'll go to my 5 minute. Actually, I'll go to the hourly to see um, if there's any supply or demand zones that I am paying attention to. I do see this 1 hour demand zone that I saw this morning. Obviously, we have this zone here that was something to pay attention to. But yeah, we have these areas. That's what I see right now. They're pretty sure that there's others that are important right now as well. But for now, I'm just going to start with those. That's what I pretty much do. Then I'll go to like the 5 minute to see what does the 5 minute show me. And this is what the 5 minute showed me. So when the market opened, because I have these levels marked out, although I am paying attention to those, I am also mainly paying attention to the key levels that are marked out: the previous day high and low, pre-market high and low. Let me go ahead and pre-market low, then have the pre-market high. I typically label them that way so I can see on the side. Okay, we have a previous day high, pre-market high, previous day low, pre-market low, previous day low. When the market opened, the price rallied up a little bit, but then it found some weakness and rallied going towards this pre-market low down here. What I typically do before I get into anything, I patiently wait to see where price is going to go towards. Which key level is it going to go towards? It's going to go to pre-market low or previous day low, uh, pre-market high or previous day low. I mean previous day high. Today it chose to sell off and go towards pre-market low. Now, once it sold off of this pre-market low, I look to the side, liquidity here, but I also look at other areas where this price may have tapped into. And that gave me the indication that obviously liquidity was sitting right there at pre-market low. Price tried to continue to rally down, but it found some momentum off this pre-market low. So that was my indication that liquidity was being swept off this pre-market low. From there, that's when I actually took a trade here. I took one contract off that liquidity. Now that wasn't my supply and demand zone setup for the day, but I was looking for that supply and demand zone setup. And so what did price do? Price found momentum and started to rally up, and as price was rallying up, obviously that one contract that I got was making me money. It wasn't a large contract. I believe it was like a $30 contract. From here to here, it got me about 150 bucks. Then what I noticed is that as price was rallying down, we had this small pullback here. So we had a rally up, and I was paying attention to this high right here. This high right here gave me the indication that we had somewhat of a break of structure here, because this high was broken off of this candle. Price, obviously, price was still in a bullish continuation, as we can see. So I was looking for some type of demand zone because we got a breaker structure. The demand zone that I was looking at was probably down here, but because we found momentum down here off this liquidity sweep, I was looking for a strong continuation. And so we had that continuation, but we also had this small little pullback. So because of that pullback, that was my demand zone that I was looking for. And when I trade supply and demand, I typically look for a few things. Let me make this bigger, because I knew that this was going to be a somewhat fast setup because of the continuation of these candles. So we have this 5-minute demand zone because we have this rally, then we have this small pullback. Next step that I'm looking for is a break retest off of this demand zone to see if this demand zone is going to be validated. Once I noticed that we had a break, that candle closed outside of this demand zone, I was waiting for price to rally back inside of this demand zone and validate this demand zone. So this is what I saw. Way to mark that out. I typically look for a break, retest. Although price, as you can see, the candle started to develop, and it started to wick outside of this candle, but I still believed in this candle just solely off of this wick, because as you can see, price wicked out of this candle but still found momentum outside of this candle above on the top of this actual demand zone. So once it created this candle and closed outside of this demand zone, that was my entry to add on to the already contract that I got. So from here to here, the value of that contract was about $75. So I just added another $75 on top of the one that I already purchased earlier off of this liquidity sweep. And so from there, that's when I look for my setup. I added on to this demand zone, and my entry was pretty fast. It happened pretty fast. So once this candle closed, I added on to this. I added one more contract to the play that I was already currently in, and I marked out my 1-to-1. That 1-to-1 got smacked off of this candle immediately, and then for my 1-to-1 and my 1-to-2, I mark out my 1-to-1 and 1-to-2 quickly. On this candle, obviously, price didn't give me my 1 to 2 quick, or it didn't complete my 1 to 2, but the next candle it did. It closed, pulled back a little bit, but then still found some momentum to snap um, my 1 to 2, and then from there I was out of the trade. It happened within the first 10 minutes. Obviously, this move happened this morning from the liquidity sweep. Um, which gave me that rally of like about $150. I added on to that one contract to have two contracts for a quick 1 to 1 setup, 1 to 2 setup quickly, and then from there I was done with the trade. I do this setup every day. I look for where liquidity is being swept. If liquidity is being swept off of one of four of these key levels, and I base my trade or my entry of the trade off liquidity. Now, you don't necessarily have to do that, but I typically do. That's the reason why I only start with one contract. I wait, and I wait to see if liquidity is being swept off of these key levels. Once I notice that, that's when I'll get into a small contract, and then I'll wait patiently to see where my demand or supply zone setup is going to be based. Today we got a nice clean 5 minute demand zone. We had a break, retest for a quick 1 to 1, 1 to 2, and that trade right there was about 10 minutes in and out. Beautiful trade. I was able to capitalize on that for about $386. My P&L right here is right here. Again, I'm still just growing my small account. The month of May, I was able to make about $10,000, about 10.1 $10,100. And then and I reset my account um with $1,000, and then I believe my account is at roughly about 47. I didn't trade in April. Um I didn't trade in April, and I didn't trade in June, just because that was kind of like a victory uh lap for me. That was a huge success. That was a huge accomplishment. I've been trading for a very long time and never seen that type of money being made on my own. I have not taken any like courses or anything. It's more trial and error and learning from my mistakes. And I think that that's what has gotten me to the place where I'm at today. Not quitting, not giving up, and constantly believing in myself that I can actually do this. I was able to start back trading um, the end of the last week of June with $1,000, and from June all the way to today, I'm up about $4,700 in my account. Again, pushing to try to get that account back up to another 10K. I think 10K would be the ultimate goal, to be able to try to make $10,000, between $5,000 to $10,000 each month. That would be that's my goal for right now. Small goals, small wins, small goals, and yeah, I look for these type of setups every day. I'm grateful for trading. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to make money before I go to work. And hopefully, this video is giving someone that's out there that's wanting to possibly trade some type of encouragement, some type of motivation. And yeah, I mean, anyone can do it. You just have to apply yourself. You have to believe in yourself. And you have to apply yourself. The one number one rule that, or number one, what's the word? Advice that I can give someone is master one strategy. There's tons of videos out there where there's a bunch of strategies. I would say master one strategy. Supply and demand with liquidity. Supply and demand plus liquidity sweeps has been working for me, and I truly enjoy it. It makes sense to me. I haven't had any issues with it so far. I'm just been just consistent. And when you see your setup, obviously take it. Trust your analysis, trust the homework that you've done, and just believe in yourself. So with that being said, like I said, that was the trade that I did. Again, I just wanted to create this video just to give you a recap. Again, market open, rallied down to pre-market low, swept that liquidity. I got in on one contract from that liquidity sweep. It rallied up, had rallied up and created a break of structure That break of structure created my pullback right here and created my demand zone. Obviously, we were in a strong bullish momentum space, so I was waiting for my pullback, and it happened right here. Off of this break of structure, that simply means that this high was broken off of this candle or this wick. We were in a strong momentum movement right here. Price pulled back slightly and continued. Because it did that, it created my 5 minute demand zone. It bounced out, retested, and held outside of that demand zone for a quick scalp, 1-to-1, 1-to-2 trade. I don't know if there's an actual trade name for this, but that's just what I trade every day. Um, and like I said, hopefully this video can help and inspire somebody to continue with their trading journey. With that being said, remember to be kind. Remember to be kind to yourself. Be kind to others, and never give up. Never give up, and continue to believe in yourself when it comes to these markets. You must study. You must study. You must have a solid foundation when it comes to your strategy, and from there, just discipline yourself to execute the actual strategy day by day by day. You will be lucrative. You will be successful. You will be a profitable trader. With that being said, again, my name is Kendrick McMillan. Please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below and let me know how your trading journey has gone or is going. And yeah, you all be blessed. All right. Be safe. Be blessed.